Hello, this is A.T. Vuong uh, doing a reflection on literacy. The process and purpose of reading consists of three primary steps: before, during, and after reading phase. With the before reading phase, students starts to focus, plan, and learn to read. The during phase is where students read the text and at the same time check the underlying purpose of a text by using prior knowledge. The final phase, after reading, which is where students interpret the text using previous knowledge along with new material, leading to an understanding of newly read material. The role morphology and contextual analysis have on vocabulary development. Morphology and contextual analysis play important roles in vocabulary development, since direct teaching of morphology is a useful tool to help students understand and apply word structure to recognize, spell, and study vocabulary. Students who recognize how words are formed by putting together prefixes, suffixes, and roots generally develop larger vocabulary pools and improve reading comprehension compared to peers without such understanding and skills. Contextual analysis gives students the tools to predict and determine word meaning of unrecognizable words or familiar words that have new, unusual meanings. Students look for clues in similar words in sentences and paragraphs of a text. Evidence-based practices for teaching phonemic awareness to English learners. Phonemic awareness is the overall term encompassing mostly the audible part of literacy. In other words, students first learn to transfer sounds into the letter relationship they discover and recognize, and then transfer parts of sound in words to read the entire word. They also understand that the sounds they hear have structure, and change the different structure that come from each to narrow down into syllables, or look for rhymes. As a result, it's important that students recognize the sounds they hear in words so that they can later on match those to letters. There are evidence-based literacy practices to help learners be more phonemically aware. Some of these practices may include sound blocks, where students place a block in a box with each sound they hear in a word. Syllable clapping, where students clap for every syllable found in words or even learners' names. Also, picture and sound matching. This is where students match images to words and or sounds found in them. How an English learner's home language be utilized to support and strengthen the development of foundational phonics in English. When recognizing English phonemes, students whose primary language is not English could help support themselves by using sounds that come from their primary language. Therefore, some scholars suggested that by resorting to and comparing the learner's first language, they are able to utilize the phonemes required in English. Furthermore, certain sounds in foreign languages are also found in English. One example is that most Asian languages are tonal based. So if students can't sound out a new word, they could refer back to their native language and try to sound this word out based on tones found in their native language. Vietnamese students, for instance, always forget to pronounce their S for plural words like cats and dogs. Knowing this, teachers could recommend that they stress the S every time a plural word is read to students. The necessary components to achieve effective comprehension, including well-developed language, multiple higher-order thinking processes, and self-correction. When students are able to build their phonics, vocabulary, and their overall fluency, it leads to strong literacy development, effective comprehension, well-developed language, higher-order thinking, and self-correction. These building blocks, thus, are important for students to continue their reading comprehension journey. Consequently, education experts have further pointed out that improved reading comprehension and language fluency don't just end there. The teacher continues to inspire students to read, and students enjoying what they're reading becomes part of the momentum driving students to achieve higher order thinking. How evidence-based best practices can be utilized to improve comprehension in English learners, including those with reading difficulties and dyslexia. There are myriad best practices to apply when teaching comprehension literacy, and some can carry over to teach those with dyslexia as well as EL students, where English is not their native language. Evidence-based simply means that their strategy has been implemented, scientifically backed, and proven to be effective. Some of these best practices may include oral language, concepts of print, alphabet knowledge, phonemic awareness, phonics and spelling, fluency, morphology, and vocabulary. Oral language is one example where the practice of speaking out loud connects with reading comprehension. Oral language is useful for reading fluency and continues to be used throughout one's life. With all of these practices implemented and utilized as much as possible, it is possible that struggling and possibly EL students become more fluent readers and develop good comprehension and literacy skills.